Outside the city, on a high hill, stood a huge mansion. The mansion was vacant for years. And there were many stories about it. People used to say that the mansion is haunted, and strange incidents happen there at night. Abhishek, a young adventurous journalist, was always fascinated by mysteries. He had heard about the mansion, and his curiosity drew him there. One dark night, Abhishek sneaks into the mansion with his camera and recorder. The atmosphere inside the mansion was terrible. The dusty air, broken furniture, and cracks on the walls, everything looked scary. Abhishek turned on the camera and proceeded cautiously. He was feeling something strange in every corner of the mansion, as if someone was watching him. Suddenly, a knocking sound was heard. Abhishek's heart started beating. He increased the light of the torch and looked around. Nothing was visible. The knocking sound again, louder this time. Gathering courage, Abhishek moved towards the stairs. As he climbed higher, the sounds also increased. Now it was not just a knock, but the sound of walking feet was also heard. Finally, he stopped in front of a room. The door of the room started opening slowly. Abhishek held his breath. The door opened completely, but there was darkness inside. When the light of the torch fell into the room, Abhishek's eyes widened in tears. A woman was sitting on a chair in the middle of the room. His eyes were empty, and his face was pale. She was looking towards Abhishek. Abhishek's hand started trembling. He pressed the camera button and started running. A screaming sound came from behind. Abhishek came out running and ran away from the mansion. As soon as he came out, he looked back. The woman was visible in the window of the mansion. Her eyes were now red. Abhishek ran away to save his life. But there was a question deep in his mind. Who was that woman? What secret was hidden in that mansion? Curiosity again drew him to the mansion that night. This time, his friends, Rahul and Asta, were with him. The night was deep. The three friends were standing in front of the mansion. Breathing was coming intermittently. Abhishek took a deep breath and pushed the door. This time the atmosphere inside the mansion seemed even more terrifying. As if the darkness has also become denser. He moved forward slowly. The camera was on. The light of the torch was falling in every room. Everything was the same as last time. But this time there was something different. A strange coolness was floating in the air. And strange sounds were coming from every corner of the mansion. Suddenly, Asta screamed. The torch fell from his hand on the ground. Rahul picked up the torch and saw that something was written on the ground. Written in blood. Those words were, "You're next." The souls of the three friends trembled. He understood that he was in danger. They started running. But the doors of the mansion suddenly closed. As if someone was imprisoning them inside. The sound of water dripping was heard. Gradually that voice became louder. And then, it started raining heavily. Water started entering the mansion. The mixture of darkness, water, and fear of the unknown now felt like death. The three friends clung to each other, trembling with fear. Just then, a scream was heard. Asta had disappeared. Rahul and Abhishek looked around. But she was nowhere. Now only two were left. His legs were trembling due to fear. They didn't know what was going to happen the next second. Strange sounds were coming from every corner of the mansion. And then, in the darkness, they saw something. 2 red, glowing eyes. Those 2 eyes, shining in the darkness, were slowly coming towards him. The breathing of Rahul and Abhishek was intermittent. They started looking at each other. Fear was clearly visible in their eyes. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind came. A part of the mansion collapsed. Water started entering inside rapidly. Rahul and Abhishek had understood that now there was no hope of survival. They started looking at each other. There was no fear in his eyes, but a strange peace. As if they knew that everything was about to end. Those shining eyes were now very close to him. And then, darkness. The next morning, the rain had stopped. 2 dead bodies were found in the ruins of the mansion. The police started investigation. But nothing was found. People say that at night, screams are still heard from the ruins of the mansion. And sometimes 2 shadows are also seen. And those shining eyes? She is still there. Somewhere in the darkness. Waiting for her next victim.